Hail Biafra. This is Biafra Liberation Army Network coming to you again. Please do subscribe, like, share, and comment.
It is outrageous how the whole world is laughing at Tinubu's government. Tinubu personally, because of the detention of minors, how they showcased them in court, even when people were fainting, after giving them some medication, they still return those minors to prison again. You see, the world have been trying to understand what is going on in Nigeria, and this is trending. But you see the problem, Tinubu is a person that don't care. He don't even care. He's not even sending anybody. The worst person you are going to have in your life is someone who don't care about what happens. All right, now look at what some international news media are saying. This one is from Al Jazeera. I encourage you to read these articles to the end, but I'm just going to show you their headlines. I have taken my time to read it to the end for you to understand where you call your country. Now, Al Jazeera is saying, Rice Group calls for release of minors charged over Nigeria protests. Minors charged over Nigerian protests. Anyway, maybe as time goes on, you will understand what it means to charge minors in adult court, detain minors in adult facilities. Now, this one is from Reuters. Reuters, headline goes in this way. Nigeria charges 76, including minors, with treason after August protest. Protest is a fundamental human right, but Nigeria is now charging, protesters, even who are minors, 36, 37 minors, they are charging them with treason. In other words, if they are found guilty, they will be sentenced to death. This is laughable. This one is from CNN. It says 29 children may be sentenced to death for protesting against cost of living crisis in Nigeria. This is outrageous. This is demonic. That 29 children may be sentenced to death. What is that crime? For protesting against the cost of living crisis in Nigeria. So what is democracy that these people are preaching? No wonder someone like Ibrahim Traore was even laughing at Tinubu when the protest started, and he was saying, and I quote, he said, "If killing the protesters is the democracy you want us to join, we don't have anything to do with your democracy." Now, look at what BBC said. It says, outrage in Nigeria as young suspects collapse in court. Young suspects. This BBC framed their own. If you did not read it now, you might not understand through the topic. So this is outrageous. When this protest was going on, during that time, it was a time the ECOWAS was trying to woo the juntas, the Burkina Faso military leader, the that of Mali and Niger. And Ibrahim Traore responded. Look at the video, listen to what he said.
Whether you're a Democrat or not, how can you impose democracy by killing millions of people? It's a dictatorship, not democracy. You can't impose it. Those who call themselves Democrats have seen scenes where people were prevented from joining assemblies. We've seen scenes where forces landed in assemblies to force deputies to take texts. We've seen more terrible scenes where people kill their demonstrators. But they call themselves Democrats, and we're called Persians. If that's democracy, I repeat, we don't want this democracy. And when you see incompetence, they don't seek to know what the real meaning of the word democracy is. They cling to the definition given to them by imperialism and start talking about democracy without really knowing the basics. That's incompetence. You have to know, look at the world to redefine democracy as we want it in Africa.
Now, most people from the northern Nigeria, I think they are not reacting. When I mean they are not reacting, look at most of these minors, if not all of them, are from the northern Nigeria. They were arrested, they said they were waving Russian flag. All these children, if I should call them out in court and ask them to show me Russian flag, they won't be able to identify what is called Russian flag. So you are charging them treason. You want to kill the minors, 13-year children, because they wave flag, right? This is very dangerous. Anyway, listen to what Professor Osman Yusuf said about their illegal detention.
These clips were sent to me from no less a place than outside the country. I didn't see them. I got one sent from Chicago, unknown number, and the other one from as far away as Brisbane, Australia. I called the numbers. These guys were journalists. They had seen the clips before I saw them. And they were asking me, is this real? Is this part of mass school abductions? I mean, so watching this clip, to be honest, was heart-wrenching. The point I bring about this foreign journalist calling me is we do not know the damage this thing has done to us in this country. The image of Nigeria and this government is dented by this. For us in the North, this is clearly reminiscent of the days when you have mass school abductions by bandits, and we bring them out in this large number. Fortunately for us, the case we saw, arraigned by the Minister of Justice to a federal court, they look much worse than what we always get from bandits. So bandits take care of children better than our government. I mean, fellow Nigerians, these children, over 2,000 protesters were arrested during EndSARS, during this End Bad Government protest, a protest that is a legitimate right of every citizen. Many were kept without their parents knowing where they were. They were blindfolded. We are getting reports from those who were released. They were blindfolded and transported and detained in centers across the North. These children, and I had the interview of their lawyer, there are 45 minors in this collection of children that were brought to court. These children were brought from Kano, from Kaduna, from Jos, from Gombe to Abuja. What were their crimes? Alleged crimes? Oh, treason. Trying to incite mutiny and change of government by the military, waving Russian flag, causing a regime change. These children you saw, this government is so jumpy and insecure because of what it's doing to this country. This is clearly, I mean, there's no two-way about it. This is clearly the government trying to terrorize us and terrorize the most vulnerable amongst us, our children, and decriminalizing legitimate protests in this country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a beneficiary of protest and agitation in this country. And what his government is doing is clearly trying to stifle any voice. And the voices of children, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's not only our commander-in-chief, but to a nation that is signatory to treaties all over the world in protecting the rights of children. He's also the chairman of ECOWAS. What is he going to tell them? What is he going to tell them? This is a body blow and a huge shame to this country, that we're doing this to our children by the government. By the government. When we collect these children from bandits, we take them to hospital and take care of them. But what did President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government do to these children that collapsed in a court of law? They took them back to jail. They took them back to jail. And what did the Attorney General do when he came out? Oh, the Attorney General said he's going to recall the file. Excuse me, Mr. Attorney General, there's no file to recall. What we Nigerians demand is immediate and unconditional release of all of these children. They need to be taken care of in the hospital. They need to be better nourished. All their medical issues need to be taken care of. They need to be fully compensated for the pain and suffering this government has caused them. And their parents need to be fully compensated. And full investigation must be done as to who is responsible. And the police. The Inspector General of Police must take full responsibility for this. because this dastardly act was done on his watch. We are hearing reports that the police abduct children from these cities in the north, Kano, Katsina, Kaduna, Jos, and Gombe, and illegally transported them for rendition here in Abuja on known locations. Many of their parents do not know where they were. Their appearance in court was the first time they saw them. Their appearance in court was the first time they saw them. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this action is clearly terrorizing our citizens with the full complicity of the security services that swore to protect us and the court that swore to uphold the law. This is unacceptable and it's not going to be accepted. The law is a noble profession and I salute, and every Nigerian should salute the efforts of the lawyers of these children who doggedly and pro bono defended these children. And without them, we would not have known this. In the same breath, I am going to condemn, and every Nigerian should condemn the actions, the callous actions of the prosecuting lawyer and the prosecuting judge. The law, like medicine, is common sense. The judge should have known that these children needed medical care, not to be left laying on the floor in a court of law. Where are they? How many have died? How many are going to die? We need to have the full account of this. These children must be reunited with their families and fully compensated. And the president needs to address this nation and stop this criminality we are seeing. It's not acceptable.
Okay. All right, Prof. Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Usman Yusuf. But two things from me, because I'd like you to look at the issues from two clear areas. First will be, I mean, in spite of the uproar that this has rightly generated, but first will be that, yes, minors have been paraded and the whole world is basically saying that this is not right. But what about those who are not minors there, who participated during that protest and who, according to police, destroyed public property, burned down public institutions, burned down houses, destroyed cars, etc. Are you also saying that their atrocities should be ignored? That's one. And the second part will be that the minors that are there, sadly, in large numbers, who obviously were on the street on the days that this protest happened in August, do you think that that speaks to a larger concern, particularly in the North, about out-of-school children, and the mere fact that on the day that they were meant to be in school, it was easy for them to be taken, to join the bandwagon of the protest, and by the time that it descended into chaos, they became willing to. So do you think that this should be an opportunity for the authorities, government, state government, local government, etc., to look deeper into the more concerning or equally concerning issue of out-of-school children, particularly in the North?
Well, you are preaching to the choir, but you are not going to give any excuse to anybody for this nonsense we're saying. Nobody, no government should be responsible for what we are seeing. So out of school, in school is no excuse for this. There are those that we elected in states and federal that are supposed to take care of these children, and they are the ones you should bring to this chair and ask those questions of. I am here to protest against what the federal government has done to our children. You are a baby, you are a 90-year-old, you have the right to protest. And nobody should criminalize protest, and that is what this government is doing. So no excuse. Give nobody any excuse for this. You want to talk about out-of-school children, we'll make it another day. Or call the governors of all the states. But don't make that as an excuse. I know you are not holding forth for any government, but no government should give us any excuse for what we've seen. For what we've seen. I'm not talking the legal, there are lawyers to do that. I'm here to talk about the fundamental human rights of these children that have been violated. I'm here to talk about children should not have been there. I'm here to talk about if there are problems in Kano, Katsina, or Kano, it should be prosecuted there. Not children blindfolded and transported in the middle of the night in Black Maria by Gestapo police to Abuja. It's not acceptable, and the world should know that. And we must all raise our voices. That is why I'm here. Next question, please.
Okay, sir. Thank you for joining us this morning, Professor Usman Yusuf. Now, beyond the fact that Nigeria is a signatory to different international treaties that protect children, we do have a Child Rights Act. And the Child Rights Act also has stated that children are exempt from this type of persecution, that they have freedom to, they have certain protections that are outlined for children. Now, that is in Section 255. Now, that does not come into consideration when we talk about treason. And these children are being accused of treason for raising Russian flag. Now, some Nigerians are wondering if there are Russian flags, if there is terrorism, if there is someone pushing for a change in regime, will it be these children, these malnourished children on the streets of Nigeria, or would it be some type of higher power? And if that is the case, should our security services not then be focused on these individuals who might be pushing children? Because another question is, what would these children know about Russian interference in Africa? So I want to ask you that. But also the second issue at hand today is the VAT tax. The VAT tax bill that has been pushed back by some governors in the north, particularly because they want to change the way it is remitted or the way the VAT sharing formula. Some people argue that a lot of the products we get from the north, such as food, are tax exempt, and so it will be unfair to the north. But some people also argue that the sharing formula we have right now is unfair to the south, in that in the sharing formula has a lot of the VAT that's gotten from items sold in the south and then they're remitted to the north. So what's your take on the pushback from the northern governors in terms of that? And what's your take on these young children on the streets of Nigeria who are victims of, some of them victims of insecurity themselves, some of them possibly orphans from the Boko Haram insurgency? What's your take on their understanding of what treason would be, or Russian influence in Africa?
Right. I mean, why the children are there is the failure of government at all levels, local, federal, and state, and the failure of communities. We all went to school. Our parents were not wealthy. From the commonwealth of our people, our education was paid for. We went into the world and competed favorably because leaders of that time invested in us. That is why today, each time we raise our hands, we pray for three people: our parents departed, our teachers that taught us well, and our leaders that invested in us. You can say the same of the leaders of today. It is the failing of government, it's the failure of leadership that we have these children all over. The last Minister of Education, Adamu, said he has been the longest serving Minister of Education. He's not proud of it because during his time we have over 20 million Nigerian children out of school. So it's the failure of government, and that's what we've been talking about. Corruption and bad governance, this is what we see on steroids since the arrival of democracy in this country. Back to VAT debate. Yeah, northern governors met in Kaduna to talk about VAT. Oh, and they want to accrue more money. Let me say that they were not there for God and country or for the region. They were collecting there because they are not going to get more money. But this is the honest truth about VAT. People that know it, VAT is a consumption tax. If Dangote now has a factory, cement factory in Abajana, Kogi State. He doesn't pay VAT in Kogi. He pays VAT in Lagos because Lagos is his headquarters. Many of the oil companies are in Niger Delta, are in the Delta region. That's where they have their operations. But their headquarters are in Lagos. They pay VAT to Lagos. What has Lagos done to earn that? So Lagos is getting all of that money. And now you're saying, oh yeah, that money is ours, that money is ours. No, it isn't. Lagos is what it is today thanks to Nigeria's Commonwealth. All the infrastructures were built by Nigerian Commonwealth. The ports, the bridges, the everything. If anybody asks you, you must pay. So people need to be sensible. There is this thing they call in the old Zulu adage, Ubuntu. You are who you are because of me. It's common humanity. So this selfishness, oh, it's me, it's me, it's me, and the president is following that, it's raising antenna alarm in the north. That what the president essentially is doing is trying to pull all the resources to the southwest, particularly Lagos. Particularly Lagos. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not, but the president needs to hear the pulse of the north, the pulse of our people. Dangote is paying VAT in Lagos with his factories in the north. So all that, yes, and the president has sent a bill. Has sent a bill to the House about his tax reform. That is his right as the executive. But it is the right of our representatives, and we're watching them very closely. It is the right of our representatives to fight for us and kill that bill if it does not do well for the people they are representing. End of story. There is no argument. There is no argument. This is what democracy is. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his own cannot do things without reverting back to the House. And we have our representatives there that we will hold accountable. That's how much I will say about this.